Our next speaker, Laura Wilmot, is in her final year of international studies at Bishop's University. She combines her interests for political science and the environment by being involved on campus as the Sustainable Development Student Intern, and she's the executive of the Political and International Studies Club. Next year, she will pursue graduate studies in environmental law or international law. Please welcome Laura Wilmot to the stage.
Raise your hand if you ate something today. This is something we all have in common, the need to be fed daily. But too many vulnerable people do not get this right. I've always had an interest in human rights. As I traveled a lot, I was early conscious of all the inequalities surrounding us. I don't know if it was part of how my parents raised me, but growing up with a brother and a sister, you always feel like your parents treat you in an unfair way. Oh, my brother got more, my sister got more. Well, I always had a bigger sense of that. Some people are born with less, and I think it's unfair. I know it's very privileged to say that, but I think that people don't have the same rights as us, and this is why it got me to wanting to be a seeker for justice throughout my life. Last summer, I had the chance to do an internship in Brussels. I met with several other students from everywhere in Canada and the United States. And this is one of the main reasons why I love my university so much here at Bishop's. Because this is an opportunity I had due to the Politics and International Studies department here with another student. And spending my summer sharing with other students about what passionate them made me realize what motivated me. We have the chance here at Bishop's to be surrounded by amazing teachers, and some of them are even here in the room. But I really underestimated how much you can learn from fellow students. But I learned from the really broad social justice field where I wanted to personally make a change, where I wanted to pursue my career, and it's the right to food for all. So let me start with some facts and context here. Food waste is a global issue that affects all of us. Food waste creates 3.2 billion tons of greenhouse gases every year, which means that if food waste was a country, it would be the world's third largest polluter, after the United States and China. In Canada, 30% of the food we produce is wasted. In Quebec, that means that we collectively waste 180 kilograms of food per year. The economic aspect of food waste is $400 per person per year. Can you imagine how much you could do with $400 as a student? Although there is enough food to go around the world to feed the global population, 1/3 of the 4 billion tons produced each year is wasted. And that costs our global economy nearly $750 billion annually. The issue of food waste has economical, environmental, and social consequences. We cannot keep threatening such a sustainable future. If you want to save the world from hunger, start by not wasting food. So maybe all these facts are not really alarming you, so let me put it this way. Of all the food every year that is produced for consumption, 1/3 is wasted. So one of my colleagues earlier used an animal to show her facts. Well, I used one too. 1/3 of the food we consume, we waste every year, is the equivalent of 7 million blue whales. Can you imagine how much food that is? So these are very alarming statistics. How can we even begin to tackle such a massive issue? Today I'm going to talk to you about food security and how we can improve this at home. And I hope that when you leave this room, you will take part of improving this human right as I do daily here in my community at Bishop's University and at my home. The answer to what can I do to solve this issue is to start local. For example, there's one community project I'm involved here on campus that is part of how I personally engage in this human right, and it's the BU Community Fridge. This fridge was the idea of my friend and alumna Camille Lamarche, that you can see on this picture, who graduated now 2 years ago. Camille had this idea for a while, but such as many good things in life, it takes time to implement projects. But I personally believe that when something is meant to do good in your community, it's worth the time. And this is why I was more than happy to get involved with her when she asked me to be part of this project at the beginning of this year. The city of Sherbrooke has a few different community fridges in the city, and they're called the Free Goes Free Go. But they all share the same mission: to reduce food waste by giving access to the most disadvantaged to fresh fruits and vegetables while fighting at the same time for food waste. And I think that's a very good example of human rights and human values and how people can get engaged in their community. Because if you want to tackle a global issue, you need to start at the local level. I remember this fall, when we launched the fridge, we gave to our community thanks to the generosity of our local member of parliament, Marie-Claude Bibeau, who kindly donated us thousands of apples to share with our community. And I think we need more of that. It's cyclical sharing. You take into the fridge if you need it, and you give in it if you can. I remember last semester, I went to see a documentary called Just Eat It. It was about food waste and a Canadian couple who survived for 6 months by eating food only destined for landfills. This was very shocking to look at because it not only paints a picture of food waste in North America, but it makes you also realize how small you are. And the reality is there are thousands of documentaries about food realities around the world. But I think it should not take as far as an image of a young kid starving in a remote country for us to realize that some people do not get the right to food as we have. And that we all have the power here to take action on that issue. The fridge acts as a metaphor and a reminder of what we can do when we fill someone's fridge. Food insecurity on campuses is the lack of reliable access to sufficient and affordable, nutritious food. There are not enough studies here in Canada about food insecurity on campuses, but the ones that have been done included that 48% of respondents reported food insecurity in the previous 30 days. Can you imagine going to class hungry? I personally couldn't follow a class of one of my teachers, no matter how passionate and interesting they are, being hungry. To tackle such an issue, we need human values such as fairness, equity, respect, and dignity, and models of those values that inspire people to get engaged. For me, it was several of my teachers here on campus, and my friend Camille by her hard work to implement the fridge. Every human needs to eat. No one can be left behind in this fundamental human right. But the good news is that we are such a major part of this problem. We also have the ability of be the solution to it. We have the power here at our local level, in your community, in every community of the Maple League universities, to tackle this problem. And this is another of the reasons why I love my university so much, because it runs on student engagement. You get so much possibilities here at Bishop's University. My school is here really a creator of those values, but I'm sure that every school of the Maple League is. We really have a community of international students, and those international students, once they graduate, go back to the four corners of their world. They take the values, we learn them here. The values for my part that were not to waste food, but to share it. I really hope that next time you look at your apples in your fridge going bad, you will remember me and come drop them off in the sub. If ever you've never seen the fridge, it's at the heart of our campus, right in the sub. Education and awareness are the first steps to solving and understanding any issue, and world hunger is no different. I remember a quote I read a few years ago that really inspired me. If you're working on a problem you can solve in your own lifetime, you're not thinking big enough. Nevertheless, regarding human rights and the right to food, I really hope this is something I can see solved in my own lifetime, and that the Sustainable Development Goals targeted by the United Nations will be reached. If today I made the people here in this room more conscious about the problem of food waste, I reached my goal. And I really hope that you will continue this on your daily lives. Because if we tackle the problem of food waste, we could feed 9 billion people every day. Thank you very much.